Let's do this! Hello, Ritchie. How you doing?
Hello. I'm all right. How you doing, Natalie?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. It's so good to be here with you again. It feels like
Yeah.
it's been a long time.
Yeah, it feels like it. I've been on the road a whole lot and
Yes.
just traveling everywhere and finally I have a house. We're moving in. This is not it. This is a Airbnb that I'm in for another day. But getting the house is still in boxes and everything, so we're getting there.
But you're
But it's
getting
good
there.
that it's good getting there, and after 2.5 months of not being in a house, it's very nice to finally be in a house.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I was just thinking the last time we were here, I was not here either. I was somewhere else. You were
Mm,
already in the same place, but you've still been doing a lot of traveling since then. And I
yeah.
was in summer clothes. I was feeling warm. It was light outside, and now here I am with cold feet again. And
Yeah, because it's winter where you're at, and
yes, it
it's
is.
the middle of summer over here.
Yes, you're busy. You're busy making sure that all your air cons are working properly.
Hmm.
Yes, yeah. No,
And
it's fantastic to be back. And thank you to everyone who's joined us a little bit ahead of time
yes,
for us to have a bit of a chat. And yeah, I'm looking forward to connect whoever's here. Let us know where you're tuning in from and shoot away with questions if you have any. We will have some. Well, one question in particular. I don't know yet what it is, and Richie doesn't either. But
no,
before we go there, I have a question to you, Richie. You've mentioned that you've been
okay.
traveling a heck of a lot, and
Hmm.
you've been sharing quite a bit with all of us in your blog posts. I would like to know, though, if you have any idea how many miles you've traveled.
Oh, I don't. I know it's been a lot. I would estimate, based on the oil changes that I've had to make, that somewhere around 10,000
10,000
in the car.
miles.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a
Yeah, that's what
lot.
I would estimate. I
Yeah,
don't know for sure the number though. That's
yeah,
It's been a lot. It's been
sure.
a whole lot of miles
Yes.
in the car driving, but it's been great. I've seen so many wonderful things and visited so many wonderful places and met a lot of really great people. So it's been really good. I don't regret any of it. It's it may be like a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
Um, at the same time, I am very glad to finally be moving into a place. And yeah,
Yes.
it's
Yeah,
it's
I'm
been
sure.
wonderful. So
Yes. Because obviously it's not
uh,
just been a road trip for you, it's been like moving. So I'm sure
yes,
you had a lot of admin to do while you were busy
yeah,
traveling.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yes,
and
it's
then
obviously
trying to keep
different.
up with everything.
Yeah.
So it's not like I took like a really long vacation or something like that.
Yeah.
It was working
Yes.
on the road. It was
Mm.
moving at the same time, and yeah,
Yes.
there's a lot of challenges.
So
But
I was thinking that now that you've traveled a lot and you basically
mhm,
paved the way for everyone who is probably just about to go on a summer holiday or a winter holiday by us, how did you manage to keep up with the photographs that you've taken? I know that when you're on holiday, that is often a bit of a challenge. So I thought maybe you can share a little bit with everyone who's watching how or if you have any tips because
so,
we go on holiday and we want to take photographs but a lot of us don't take photos they
mhm,
don't we don't go necessarily on holiday because we want to take photos but we're going on holiday and we take photos and we don't want
yeah.
to get all bogged down with that hundreds of images and we when we get back we need to get back to work and don't have a lot of time. So is there anything that comes to mind that you think is valuable to share with the viewers how you stay on top of it?
Yeah, so in the days before I was shooting JPEGs, I would have 5,000 images right now that would be waiting to be edited, and or maybe more than that. Maybe 5,000 is an understatement, but I would have so many, and I would just feel overwhelmed, and it would take weeks and weeks of weeding through them and slowly getting it done before I would finally be finished. A month or so from now, maybe not even then. But because I shoot JPEG and rely on the camera processing, and I can have a finished image straight out of the camera, the way I try to handle it, and it doesn't always work, especially long days on the road and stuff. But I try to, at the end of the day, before I go to bed, is I remove the images that I've taken that day off of the camera, get them on my phone, go through them and load them to the cloud so that they're done. And that way I'm not bogged down. Obviously, you can't do that every day, but if you can get it on most days, then those days you missed, then you just have to do 2 days or maybe 3 days at most. If you wait till you get all the way back home before going through it, then it's a huge number. It'll take you a long time. It might feel overwhelming. But if you take it in small chunks every day, if you have 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to spare, you can get it all done.
And you work with your phone mostly, you say?
Yes. Yeah. I use the Fujifilm app to transfer the pictures from the camera to my phone. Then I'll do like a little cropping or straightening if I need to. And then I upload them to the cloud and they're done.
Okay. Interesting. And then do you still do something with the files that's on the SD card, or do you rely solely on those images?
Yeah, no. So that I'll leave them on the SD card basically until the SD card gets full. And then I like to clean it out at that point.
Okay.
So I have an opportunity to reprocess the raw file if I want to, but I don't keep the raw files. I don't, I just wait till the card is full, and then I.
That's your time limit.
Format it clean. Yeah. Yeah. But I would love to know what other people do. Those in the audience, those listening right now, tuning in. What do you do when you travel? What's your workflow on the road? I would love to know.
What are the challenges that you have? Like I know that I often get sucked in to my travels, and also in the evenings you often still do stuff, and then maybe you get home late and you're like, no, I'll do it with morning coffee, and then something else happens, and then maybe I'm definitely more the type who only downloads every other day.
Okay.
But anyway, here's another question, and that is to the audience. We have our trivia question. I have this card here lying in front of me, and I have not been allowed to look. It was chosen for me, but people clearly want to test here as well. So I don't know yet. I'm going to read the question. I hope I can read it. Let me just hold the card right here. So the question is, on average, how many photos are uploaded daily to Facebook? Okay, that's a good one. Lots. Ritchie, what's your take? What do you think? Do you have a guess? Do you want to?
It's going to be like an astronomically huge number. It's going to be, I don't know. I'm going to say 800 million, and I'm going to say that's probably too low.
Mm-hmm. You know what's coming to my mind?
What's that?
Billions and billions and billions and billions.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, maybe not quite that many billions, but yeah, it's definitely a lot of zeros. So to everyone who's watching, what is your guess? Give us a quick take. Don't labor it. Don't make too much work. What's your first gut feel? Any number that comes to mind, just give it to us in the comments. And we will have a look. Apparently right now there's a bit of a problem with the comments, but the team's working feverishly behind the scenes to get that working. But we'll have a look. I don't know if you are, Ritchie, if you are on YouTube with a phone or something yourself, so you can have a bit of a squiz there. I'm here on mine, so I'm having a look out for anyone who is giving us their
Well,
guess.
I have my phone
Yeah.
right here,
Okay.
and I see the chat, and let's see. Tate Randy says under, I think that's under 2 billion, under
Under
2 billion.
2 billion. Okay, cool.
That's what he
Thank you for
says.
that. Thank you for that guess. And thank you for facilitating that, Ritchie. The people that are
Yeah,
watching on my channel are a bit shy. Come on, take your guess. It's cool. We can definitely check the comments, so don't be shy. Give us your guesses, and we, we will communicate the chat until we hopefully get it to work. So
yeah,
there's
and
always another
there's
way.
quite a few comments on here.
Okay,
The
cool.
chat has been busy. The aviator guesses plus or minus 1 billion.
Okay.
Plus or minus 1 billion. So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, I think
let's
I'm
see. But
with him on that billion number.
yeah, yeah.
I quite like that.
But we got a lot of greetings from all sorts of people across the world.
Awesome.
Uh,
Thank you so much for
I
tuning
guess,
in, guys. It's awesome
yeah.
to be connecting with you all.
The aviator who made that guess is tuning in from your hometown. So
From my hometown.
yeah, well, Johannesburg.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
That is
uh,
fantastic. Thank you for
yeah, and
joining
so
us.
all over they're joining us and they're chatting, but for whatever reason, it's not coming through onto the show right now. But hopefully,
Yes.
we'll get that fixed.
Yes. Yeah. Um, the team is doing a fantastic job to always keep that machine running. So, we were talking just before the show because, we do a little bit of practice run before we actually go live. And Ritchie was asking me, so everything seems to be working fine because we usually have a little bit of a gremlin that we need to sort out just before we go live. And there's that gremlin. The
There it is,
chat's
right
not
there.
working. So, yeah, that's how it is. We have Thomas, who is joining us from Roesch in Finland. Thank you so much for being here with us. It's absolutely fabulous to have you. And also, thanks to everyone for your fabulous submissions. We have started with that slideshow and showing what everyone's been uploading and sharing with us in the beautiful Eterna Bleach bypass. We have a bit of a challenge today because, as everyone who's from South Africa or who's been on one of our previous shows may remember load shedding, we are slap bang right in the middle of it again. And so we are due to get a load shed and our power gets cut at 8 o'clock. So we are not going to have a bumper long show. I guess we need to pay for our sins that we overextended in the last show and had such a very long show last time. This will not be the case today. So what we have decided to do is that the slideshow that we usually also show at the end of the show, we will only show a little bit later so that we can chat to you guys, and you will see the slideshow coming up on our channels as a separate video a little bit later. We hope you all understand and agree that this was the better choice to make. But
Yes. So we have to stay on time today.
yes,
Is that's
absolutely.
there's no if it all goes dark, it's because we went
Yes.
over.
Yes. And we definitely don't want to do that. So, so let's get back to our question. We have guesses from the millions to the billions. And I think, Do you think we should wait a little bit more, or do you want me to
I
reveal the
could see if
answer?
there's let's see if we got any more guesses. Not on. Let's see. My wife, Amanda,
Hello,
which by the
Amanda.
way, happy anniversary, Amanda. It's our 21st wedding anniversary today.
Oh, my word.
So
Oh,
yeah.
congratulations. Wow, what a special day.
And yay.
Yes, and you didn't say
She
anything.
guesses a gazillion photos, maybe. A gazillion.
Oh, that's for the two of you. Congratulations.
Yay.
I hope there's something special planned for later on today. I'm glad that it is morning by you, so you have the rest of the day
Yes.
to really celebrate that special day properly.
Nope.
And she guesses gazillions. Did I hear that right?
Gazillions. Yeah,
Gazillions.
gazillions.
Yeah, that's a really nice guess. We got a
It's
little
probably
bit.
the closest so far.
No, we got a little bit overly enthusiastic, actually.
Oh, did we?
Yes. So I'm wrong with my billions and billions and billions. It is apparently 300 million images that get shared daily. I mean, that's still a big number, I think. A very big number. So, yeah.
It's a lot less than I had thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was way over, but I thought I was way under.
Yes. Yeah, well, same here. But I guess because we've been used to these stats being shared, that there's like a huge number of images, probably across all the different social media platforms. We are probably in the billions.
Yeah, especially like a platform like Instagram or something where
Yes.
it's more geared towards photography.
Yeah, exactly.
Although sadly they're moving away, they're trying to move away from photography and more to video.
Yeah. Yeah, let's not go there. I just quickly wanted to say huge apologies again to all our viewers that the chat that we usually use is not working today. But please don't make you stop, because we can definitely see your comments. We can just not collate them and put them on the screen. But we can definitely still connect with you. So don't be shy. Give us your comments, share with us, ask questions. And connect with us, definitely. So that's not a spanner in the works at all. And we will share them differently. We always find a way, right, Ritchie?
Yep. And I mean, I guess we can't do it automated right now like it usually is until that gets fixed. But maybe one of the guys in the back there could even manually enter those in, as they see them. Maybe, I don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe it's just really hectic and chaotic in the background there. And
I don't know. It sounds pretty quiet, so I'm quite confident that they're working on it and finding a solution. But either way, we'll make it work. So we just keep our eyes on our phones. If we are not looking in the camera, it's not because we are chatting to someone else, but we're actually connecting with you guys through our phones. So that'll be different.
Yeah, so please. So we'll get to it, and just don't be afraid, even though it's not connected. Just ask us questions. We're here for you. Anything you want to know about Fujifilm, about recipes, about any of that stuff. This show is about you, not about us. So give us the direction that you need, and we'll get those questions answered.
Yes, exactly. Very well put. That's exactly what we're here for. And now, just as the time is ticking down, I wanted to ask you, Ritchie, if you have any other last tips for the audience, or any questions on your side before we get into the serious stuff.
Yeah, so tips. I don't have any. I know a lot of people are talking about the new camera that Fujifilm came out with, and it shipped, and people have been receiving them in the mail over the last week or two, I think. And there's a lot of people really excited about it. Other people not so excited about it, but I think that's what a lot of people are talking about right now. It
Yes,
seems.
it's definitely in the media all over. There's lots of
Mhm.
reviews of the camera and the lenses. So
Yeah.
yeah, share with us what you think about all the new releases that have come out. And I think for us, it's time to, wrap it up here. And
Yep.
we will catch you in the main show just now.
Yep. In
Awesome
1 minute.
chatting to you. We'll do some more
Yep.
of it just now.
Okay. Maybe.
All right. We
I
clearly
guess we're
still
still
have.
counting down.
Yeah. We are still counting down. So I thought I need to give a minute before we get started, but guess not. So it's super awesome to have you all with us. We are going to go into the main show, and we're going to talk about all sorts of things that are new, and obviously we'll look at special recipes for special occasions. We'll talk a little bit about clarity, and then
Yeah.
we have a special, can I say, surprise? A
Hmm.
special guest with us. I'm super excited about that. Yeah, now it's time. We will see you shortly.
Yep.
Let's do this!
Hello there, and welcome to another episode of SOOC. It's so awesome to have you here because this show is about you. So, let's jump right in. This is SOOC. We're talking about all things JPEG and in camera JPEGs and getting you shooting quickly without the need to edit your photographs in long winded ways on your computer. So we have this show once a month, and we look at a recipe a month, and then we ask you to share those images with you. If you haven't tuned in months before, so it's really awesome to have you here. If you've been here before, thank you so much for tuning in again. It's absolutely awesome to always have you with us. We're always here live every second Thursday of the month. And we look at one specific recipe that we are looking at from the Fuji X Weekly app. And obviously, I'm not here by myself, but we have Ritchie here with us, and we are looking forward to chatting to you guys about all sorts of things straight out of camera. And I don't want to hold back any longer, but greet Ritchie and, thank you so much for being here again with us today.
Hello,
Ritchie.
Nathalie. Hello, everyone.
How are you doing there, Ritchie?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm doing fine, and I'm happy to be here. I'm glad that everybody is tuning in, and we can share this time together, talking about Fujifilm, talking about film simulation recipes, and it's a really great thing.
Yes, and for everyone who's not been tuning in into our pre-show, where we just had a brief chat just now, Ritchie's been traveling a heck of a lot, and I've been on the other side of the world in our last show as well. So it's really good to reunite. And Ritchie, you're just about to get settled in. I know you've shared with me that you're really busy unpacking boxes at the moment. How does that feel?
Oh yeah. Oh, so yesterday I've had several cameras packed away in a box for 2.5 months, and I was able to pull those out. XH1, X Pro 1, and XT1, and cameras like that. And it was really good to take them out of their boxes and put them on the shelf. And I can start making film simulation recipes on those cameras again. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh, that's so nice. I'm sure you must have had a nice bonding moment there with
Oh,
all
yeah.
your cameras. Just a quick shout out to everyone. Please, everyone who's watching us today, do share with us where you're watching from and how you're doing. If you're new here, it's absolutely wonderful to have you here. And if you've been here before, it's really cool to have you back. We want to hear all your questions. If you have anything that you want to know about anything Fujifilm or JPEG related, please ask us in the comments. Easiest if you put a Q in front of your question. If you have a question that you would like answered, so we can, skim through the comments and see those really quickly. I need to apologize profusely. There is apparently a problem with our chat. At the moment, it's actually an issue that is in the software that we're using to live stream. So the people in the background, they are connecting with the technical team of that service to try and get it resolved. And in the meantime, we will do this a little bit manually. Please don't see that as a reason not to comment. We can definitely see your comments. Ritchie and I, we are both armed with our phones and we are checking the comments. And the team in the background is also looking manually. And if there are any comments, they will try to bring them on in a manual way. So don't hold back on your comments, please.
I did see a question there that was asked by a couple of people. They wanted to know what grain setting to use for a filmic look. And we've talked about grain before in the past. And, obviously different films have, high ISO film has a lot of grain, low ISO film has, less grain. You talk about like a, Velvia 50 or something having like super fine grain, or Kodachrome 25 or Kodachrome 64 versus like Tri-X 400 that's been pushed, or something like that. Grain can be all over the place. But I think if you're really trying to get a grainy film look, that don't be afraid to use strong large, strong small, something like that. I like those. I think either one of those would work really well.
Yes. And I mean, you always have a certain grain setting in your recipes in which you want a specific look. So that's definitely put there for a reason and gives you good results. But like we always say, there's no SOOC police. So you can
season to taste.
Exactly. Yeah, experiment with it and see what you like. Because at the end of the day, whatever it is that you're shooting, it needs to be for you, and it must make you happy. So go out, experiment, and if you have something that you really like, that's something new or different, then please share that with us. We would love to see what you come up with.
Yes.
But speaking of all of that, we have some news that we want to share with you. And as always, we like to start off with this year pointing out that the Fujifilm is celebrating 10 years of X-mount. It's a big celebration to celebrate the first X Pro 1 that came out 10 years ago. And they've got this big campaign where every month they set a theme and, you know, give you a bit of inspo as to what you can shoot for the month and share it on the social media platforms with that hashtag. And obviously, we, you know, grabbed that opportunity to piggyback and give it our own little spin, isn't it, Ritchie?
Yep.
And yeah, so we thought it would be really cool if you would share with us what your first image was that you took with the Fujifilm camera, or one of your first ones that made you really go, oh wow, I really absolutely love this. Like, I love this film, this photograph, that Ritchie shared with us here, which is one of your first ones.
Yeah, so that's what we're looking for, is like early on, your first month, your first 2 months, first week, whatever it was, just early on in your journey into the Fujifilm world, where you weren't sure necessarily if this camera, the system was for you, but then you took a picture, you captured something, and you just went, wow, yes, this is for me. This system's for me. This camera's for me. This aesthetic is for me, or whatever it was. And we want you to share that picture with us so that we can put it in a presentation in the next video, next episode.
Yes, exactly. So we've extended our time, for you guys to still submit some pictures. We would love to hear your story. So it's not only your photograph, but if you have something that you'd like to share. I received a few emails from people who told us a bit about the background of the picture. So whatever you have, we'd love to hear from you, because we're just here to enable, but we really want to connect and we want to see what you guys come up with. And yes, next month is the month where we'll definitely put in some extra time to look at those images and hear your stories. And, you know, thank goodness we're not doing this month, so because we want to share comments and everything. So it's very fortuitous that we decided to push it out by another month and give you some more time to upload your pictures. So please do that. And, you know, if you want to, you can then also reach out to us, and you can come on the show and you can share your story live with us right here. That would be absolutely fabulous. And that is what we have lined up for you. So uploading your pictures, you do to the normal link. That's the only thing that I still wanted to add before we move on to the other news. Which is really exciting. It's the 24-hour project. That is a yearly project. They do a campaign. It's a yearly activity where you share images for a 24-hour stretch of time. So this year, this is happening on the 10th of September, and you can register. As a photographer, this is a worldwide project. Anyone can take part in it. It's for social change. It's to create awareness. And what you're supposed to do is you go out and you shoot for 24 hours, and every hour you share one image that you've taken within that hour on social media platforms. They give you a whole lot of hashtags that you can share with that image. All of that information you can find on their website. We will share this link, if not today in the comments, we will share it after the show in the comments, and you can also screenshot this so you don't forget about it. It's a really cool initiative, and it's something different. If you're looking for a specific, some new project, something that you would like to take part in, this is really cool. And we've got some exciting stuff that we are cooking up behind the scenes for the September edition of our show. So, stay tuned right here and learn more about the 24-hour project as we go along. And in other news, there is another new Instax printer, and it was released just a couple of days ago, at least in our parts. Some areas across the world have had this news for a little bit longer. It's an update from a previous model, and it's what is so exciting for me and why I want to make sure that you guys know is that it is a smartphone printer. So all the images that you take on your cameras, you can share through the Fujifilm remote app and print them directly. And if you have an XS10, you're in luck because then you print directly from the camera. It's a really cool way to share, and an even better, way to a better reason to shoot in-camera JPEGs, because you go from taking the picture to a perfect print that looks fabulous.
Yeah, I have the original mini link.
Yes.
And it's a fun way to incorporate Instax into what you're doing. You get fun little pictures that you can share with people or put in a photo album or something like that. To me, the printer is actually easier and more fun than the actual Instax camera, although Instax cameras are fun too. So
yes, it's because it's just so satisfying to take your pictures in camera and you already like them, and then you can print them out, and it's just this whole process from start to finish is perfect. And yeah, and the image quality is absolutely fabulous. I'm looking here in front of me because I've got some prints like right here because we thought this would be the perfect opportunity to look at what kind of recipes actually print really nicely. So that's why we went on a little bit of an experimenting exercise and journey and looked at the different recipes, and I printed a whole lot of different photographs out, and we came up with a selection that we thought we share with you in our recipes for special occasions. So we've got some recipes lined up for you that we're going to have a look at. Recipes that make images look awesome on Instax prints. So something a little bit different, a bit of food for thought. And, if you say, but I don't have an Instax printer, first of all, I would recommend you should go out and get one because they're really a lot of fun. But I'm sure these prints will also look really good if you just print them normally, which is what we want to do with our images anyway, right?
Yeah, and I wanted to say that this idea actually came from the audience. That this was a suggestion, comment that we received in a past show. Was someone wanted to know what recipes were good for Instax prints. So even if we don't get to your question or your suggestion right away, we still look at them and try and incorporate it into a future episode somehow. So.
Yes, we are.
So that's
listening.
what we did. Yes.
We are listening. We are here. We are trying our best to answer all the questions. And here you go. There are 3 recipes here that we've lined up. And Ritchie, can I invite you to share a little bit about the different recipes?
Sure. So Kodak Ultramax 400, that one's going to be compatible with the newer X-Trans 4 cameras, so the X Pro 3 and newer. It's Kodak Ultramax 400 was obviously it's modeled after a film that was kind of a consumer grade film that a lot of people used, and we found out that recipe in particular was, I think, our favorite for printing on Instax. It looked really good.
It made the images just jump. I mean, you can probably not see all of that much on these photos. I will share also in the blog a bit more about this, but these photographs just really jumped out of the print. So we thought that that is a definite. I mean, this recipe itself is really, really awesome anyway. And it lends itself for beautiful prints.
So if you have a compatible camera, try the recipe. And if you have an Instax printer, print them on your Instax mini film.
Yes. But if you don't need to worry. We also
Yep.
have some other recipes that work well.
Yeah, so we have the next one on here is the vintage agfa color. This is actually a earlier recipe, one of the earlier recipes that I made a while ago, but it's compatible with X-Trans 3. You can use it on X-Trans 4. It's got a very vintagey kind of feel to it, and it turns out it also works well on Instax.
Yes, I absolutely love it. I have used it quite a bit recently, and it's just a really nice, in this case, it was a really nice summery kind of a feel that I got from the pictures. And I really enjoyed shooting the recipe itself. And as it turns out, it resolves really nicely on printing as well. And there's one more.
There's one more, and this one was made on, if I remember correctly, the XT30 is compatible XT30, XT3, Fujichrome Sensia 100. Obviously, a Fujifilm modeled after a Fujifilm slide film. That's they don't make anymore, but it also I like that recipe in general, and I think it also does pretty well on Instax. So
yes, it does. So try them all out and give them a spin and see how you go.
Yep.
And we said that we listen to your questions and we try to answer them. And this is why we're here. This show is for you. And so there's been quite a bit of talk about clarity and why do we need clarity. And it's a bit of a lot of people, I think, have a love-hate relationship with clarity in the newer cameras. So we thought, let's build a case for it. So I wanted to, I've asked Ritchie to share with him a little bit because he's also shared a blog post on his blog about this. And it's really quite good to have a look-see what it actually does and why it is good to use. So we've prepared this here for you to have a look at. And
so clarity is just like micro contrast. And Fujifilm on the newer cameras, X Pro 3 and newer, they have you can set it at 0, which is basically off, and then from there you can go down to -5 or up to +5, adding micro contrast or taking the micro contrast away. It kind of is similar to if you have Lightroom or something, you have the clarity slider that you can move back and forth. The issue is that your camera, your Fujifilm camera, takes a moment. There's a pause as it saves that file, as it processes it and saves it to your SD card, and it slows you down. And that pause, a lot of people don't like it. I've wondered if Fujifilm was going to release some sort of firmware update where they figured out a way to speed it up a little bit, but they haven't done that. And I don't know if on the X-Trans 5 if it's quicker. I assume that it probably is, but I don't know.
I've heard word that people have experienced that it's still that pause there, so it doesn't seem like that is something that's changed.
So that pause, especially if you're in a hurry, that can be very annoying. And but before we get to what you can do about it, we wanted to take a look about what the clarity setting is actually doing to your picture. So we have an example here, which is clarity set to 0. This is no clarity, and then we have a couple of crops. The first one is clarity -5. And it's probably hard to tell on the screen here, but you can see that it's softer. It's not nearly as harsh. And then the next example is clarity +5, where you can see it's a lot more, the details are a lot more crisp.
So
and the clarity, go ahead.
So in general, it just if you add clarity, it makes the image or parts of the image a lot crispier, a lot sharper appearing, and from from looking at all the different recipes, it's mostly applied in a minus, so it makes a
Yes.
lot of images softer, because that's kind of like what the film look was like. So, but it doesn't matter
Yes.
whether you add it or you subtract it. That function itself will make the camera slow. I personally think it's a good thing, because it reminds us to to really be mindful about taking photographs and not just snap too many images that we then need to deal with to edit them, or to delete or sort through. So the less images you take and you're really mindful about which ones to take, it will help you. I personally think so. But obviously there's a case for all of them. So just to have another look at it, so if we are looking at an image, this would have no clarity applied to it. And then if you have negative clarity, it makes the image much softer. So a lot of recipes use this. One of the recent examples that comes to mind was Bright Summer, that we discussed also in the last show, which has a very creamy, dreamy effect. You would have minus clarity. And on the other side, positive clarity is if you want a really crisp image. For example, like your Tri-X 400, I think Ritchie and I, we were talking about.
Yep.
That is a particular good example to have, a lot of detail in your midtones. That's when you'd have positive clarity. So I think try it out and do this exercise yourself to see exactly what it does. Maybe that will help you to, make peace with the process.
Yeah, and I think anything that can kind of slow you down and make you think more about what you're doing and be more deliberate with what you're doing instead of like spray and pray. Anything that like that is a good thing, is a positive. But sometimes it just doesn't work for you. Sometimes you're in a hurry and you need to be quick. And so if you need to disable clarity, Fujifilm's suggestion is to shoot RAW plus JPEG and then add the clarity later by reprocessing the RAW file in camera or with XRAW Studio. I think that can work. Obviously, it adds an extra step to the process. If you go to any sort of continuous shooting mode, it automatically disables clarity. So if you're in single shot and then you're like, oh man, I just need to be in a hurry right now, get a bunch of pictures of whatever's going on, you can just quickly switch it to a continuous shooting mode. Clarity is disabled. You can be quick, and then just remember later to reprocess those as adding the clarity setting. And then the other suggestion would be is if you really just you like clarity, but you really don't like what it does to your camera, is if the recipe calls for a negative clarity setting, you can use a diffusion filter instead. It kind of produces a similar look. Something like if it's -1 or -2 clarity, something like a 5% Cinebloom filter, or if it's -3, -4, or 10%, or if it's -5, maybe a 20% Cinebloom, or a Black Pro Mist, or something like that, can be used in lieu of the minus clarity.
So they would have a similar effect on your JPEG afterward.
Yes.
That's a really good tip. Something to try out. And some more gear to buy and something else to work with. That is great. So so give this a try, and especially not with Eterna Bleach bypass, but what we're moving to, you will deal with clarity. So let's see how you work with that one. But let's have a look at this month's recipe and everything that we've received in submissions from viewers. We've received super awesome images, huge, great selection that you may have seen in the pre-show. And if you missed that one, we will upload the image the viewer's image slideshow after the show as a separate video, so you can have a look at all the submissions. But we've taken a few that we wanted to share with you that we thought were really nice, and let's just touch on those and see what you shared with us. So, but before we do so, there were a few samples from us. Sorry, I completely forgot about that. Here's a sample from Ritchie that he's taken, clearly on the road, inspired.
Yep. So that's a period that you could drive out onto. I saw these old cars out there driving on it. I thought it would be a good picture, and that recipe did well in that scenario. It's high contrast, kind of silvery almost. So I know we don't have a lot of time to talk about each picture, but yeah, that's what caught my attention.
Yes. Yes, I was also on the road, so I shared with you a picture of this bridge, but we are, running a bit behind schedule, Ritchie. So let's just cruise through our images.
Cruise through yeah, more of the ocean, the going to the Pacific Ocean, seeing the boats on the water. There wasn't a lot of color to pop out. It would be good for black and white, but also this high contrast film simulation recipe does well in that kind of situation.
Yes. And as it does also, in scenery, and I love what it does to greens as well. But I really want to have a look at what all the viewers submitted. So let's move right ahead and squiz through those. Let's have a look here. Who's submitted first?
Carl Reef. I love the simplicity, like it's almost minimalistic on this image.
Yes, it's really cool. And then obviously, the blue and the green that we find so often in different images is always really nice. So well done. Thank you so much for your submission, Carl. And also thanks to William for submitting this image. I absolutely love leading lines. I love, the scene and the application of this recipe in this image. Very well done.
And I know William is tuning in right now. I saw a comment from him. So
fantastic! Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for submitting. Oh.
Yes, absolutely. Great stuff. Thank you.
Stephen Wells, just a simple old bike covered in vines. It's really cool, and it's just the greens again. We talked about the greens. And obviously the red is a contrasting color to that, so it works really well.
Yeah, that always pops out really nicely. And it's interesting to see people who've been watching, they know that I like to experiment with my reds. So this is a really good example for how this recipe renders this. Thank you, Stephen. And also thanks to Angela for submitting this. I absolutely love the scene. Speaking of Eterna, you always, or often think of the cinema, and I think this could be a scene from the movie, so I absolutely love it. Thank you for submitting this.
And what does it for me in this picture is those two hats.
Yes.
I think that's what makes it.
Yeah.
And then if you're trying to do something dramatic, it's a really good recipe for that. And you see here, it's just a simple sky with you later discover that star tower on the far left, but it's that just that dramatic white with a dark background, a storm brewing. It's ominous, and the recipe does really good. So thanks, Nate, for sharing this picture with us.
Yes, it's fabulous. Thank you. Absolutely love that too. As I do this submission from Thomas, Thomas is also watching. Thank you so much for your submission. I love it. And this is just perfect. It's like seeing all the different colors on the color wheel and seeing how this recipe renders those. So there you go. This is fabulous. I love it. And the scene is also obviously very cool. So thank you, Thomas, for submitting. And we have one image left. And as you know, we always choose one that we think was extremely well executed, not as a crit for the image, but just relating it to the recipe that it was shot in, a resemblance of what you can achieve when you shoot with this recipe. So here is our feature image for the month.
There it is.
And it is a submission by David, who clearly loves shooting sports cars. And he captured this shot brilliantly. I absolutely love his panning work. I know it's not easy at all.
Yep.
And, you know, the colors, there's some greens again, and the, you know, reflections on the car, I think, you know, make for a really cool image.
Yeah, and I think that with this recipe, a lot of pictures that would look good in black and white also look good with this recipe in color. So I think he did a great job. David did a great job of not only panning, but of using this recipe in a way that really shows its strengths.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, I find this really funny. I know that when we chose this image, we don't look at the names because we just want to see, you know, we want to see the images and see whatever. And it so happens that David is going to join us live just now on the show, and I am super excited to introduce him. He is joining us live from just outside of Nottingham in a small town that he says is so small that there is no point in mentioning his name. He considers himself as a dad of one, a donut enthusiast, which I know that Ritchie really likes. He's a broken camera womble and the owner of the world's most generic face. I don't know if we necessarily agree on this one. And an occasional photographer. And he is right here with us, and I can't wait for everyone to meet him too. David, are you with us?
Hello, David.
Hi, Nathalie. Hi, Richard. You okay?
Yeah, we're good. How are you doing, David?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Shame, you've been waiting there for quite a long time. It's absolutely wonderful to have you on the show today. And I see we have comments.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. So it seems to be working again just in time, just for you, David. You brought in the magic. Fabulous. I love the way this is going. So David, you joined us today. You said you want to share your story with us. We would love to hear, and I'm sure everyone in the audience would love to hear, you know, your journey, how you started shooting, how you came across Fujifilm, in-camera JPEGs, you know, all the good stuff. And I know you've spent some time thinking about what it is that you want to share with us. So the floor's all yours.
Thank you. So I bought first of all bought a Fujifilm camera to document my son's life. Actually, just before he came along, I had a bit of a midlife crisis, or career pivot, as we like to call it. And I've been working in finance for a very long time, and I decided that I wanted to do something a bit more creative, a bit more me, and something I could be proud of in the long run, because I've never been proud of a spreadsheet in the way I've been proud of a photograph. But unfortunately, when I bought the Fujifilm camera, it was January 2020. And as we all know, the rest of that year went really well. So I sort of decided to double down. I switched Netflix off, stopped watching the news, and I decided to learn everything I could about photography at that point by chasing a child around with a camera.
That's the best way.
Yeah. Good.
That's how I got good at planning photography. Yeah.
Okay.
If you can get a child running, you can get a car doing anything you want.
Okay, so that's your magic behind this awesome image.
Just picture my child running through the car track. But this, sorry, I'm aware we're under time pressure, but this is my first wow moment. This is probably 3 weeks after I bought the camera, and it's not wow in the way that everybody would look at a photograph and say, wow, look at the composition. It's more, wow, I've got something in focus.
Is that why you
the
strapped in the sun in front?
He wasn't mobile at this point. He couldn't get away. And thanks to my partner for letting me share this photo. I'm sure I'll pay for it later.
Thank you.
But then sort of after doing some studying and I did like an open university course and maybe a year later I started to take photographs a bit more intentionally, which is when the real sort of this is what Fujifilm can do. Look at the skin tone, the way it renders the color and the sort of transitions between the lights and the dark. That's really what sort of made me think, okay, I'm going to stick with Fujifilm as a camera system.
I think. Can I just jump in there for a second? This
Sorry.
is absolutely phenomenal, this image. I love it so much. Everything about this picture, especially thinking, how you said that you're chasing him around. So first you strapped him in, then you put him behind gates.
Hey, you've got to do what you've got to do, Nathalie. You can't just can't let him go miles too much.
Oh, that's fabulous. Yeah, great. But please carry on. I'm loving this story.
No, it's fine. And then sort of at the start of this year, since the lockdowns in the UK have started to ease a bit more, I started to think, well, what do I want to do with my photography? And I'm really attracted to people driving cars that are worth more than my house. And so I've been going to the local tracks, and that's why sort of this picture came about. This is the Kodak Vision 3 250D film simulation, and I can sum it up in one word, and the word is red. I absolutely love the way that this film renders the color red. And the good thing about obviously track photography is if you miss it, they're going to come around in another minute or so you get plenty of opportunities to actually get the picture that you want.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you something at this moment, but you already actually answered it. I was going to ask you, how in the world did you get so good at panning? Because your panning is just phenomenal. I mean, really phenomenal.
I've got two tips for you. The first one is chase children, not random children, your children, obviously.
Yeah.
Clarify that slightly. And the second one is practice. I started going to track days where the general public can take their cars. And I would go for 5 hours, and just that's all I would do for 5 hours is just keep watching the same cars go around and try to get the photo. So just put. So
those out there wanting to learn how to pan as well as David, that's what you got to do. 5 hours a day, go out there, take pictures of cars, and there you go. You'll do it.
Yes, and I have a question for you as well, David. So How did it come about that you were looking at shooting in camera?
A lot of it is time. Obviously, when you have a young child, time is a bit of a premium. But I wasn't completely aware of how to edit photos to begin with, sort of what would look good, what wouldn't look good. And it took a lot of the stylistic choices of looking at the film simulations and saying, well, I really like the way that renders the color red, for example, or, the greens and things like that. And it would give me a great starting point in a world that I don't really know a lot about. So I've learned a lot by these film simulations. Obviously, thanks Ritchie for the website and for the app and everything. But started shooting straight out of camera because it just saved me a lot of time, a lot of effort, and to be honest, it also, when you look back at the photos and they've got slightly different styles on them with the different film simulations, it's quite nice that they're not all just one homogeneous, here's everything in black and white, or here's everything in one color palette. You've got that sort of difference. I feel like shooting Kodachrome this week, so you just program it in and away you go, without having the cost of buying all these different films and having to sort of pay for developing and scanning and all those sorts of things. So I just think it's been a real education for me to start shooting straight out of camera, and and I love the flexibility of the different film simulations. So
Fantastic.
Well, thank you for sharing that, David. That's
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah, this is really brilliant. Excellent.
Yeah.
And because we have you here, we thought we'll keep you a little bit longer, and
Okay.
and we will, hand over introducing our recipe for the next month, because it's now bye Eterna Bleach bypass, and we're moving on to the next recipe. And you have shared lots of more images with this new recipe, and you have a few words that you wanted to share with what you think of the recipe and how you went about it. So can I hand over back to you?
Thank you. So the new recipe, the Fujicolor Pro 400H. It's renowned for sort of beautiful skin tones, sort of pastel-y colours, and the way it sort of is able to overexpose slightly without losing any of the information. So obviously I took the film simulation and went out and shot cars, horses. Then I moved on to flowers. Road signs. And naturally, cake. Because who doesn't love a picture of cake? And sort of, I mean, I'm sorry for butchering your film simulation, Ritchie. But I'm a bit of a tinkerer, and I love to sort of see what happens if you sort of over and underexpose. And I like to just see what happens. So obviously, this cake picture is very underexposed, and it just shifts the browns to a very dark color. And I think that color shift, which you'll see in the coming photos, happens quite a lot, obviously, with the film simulations when you do move that sort of exposure. So if we could just move on to the next one. So, surprise, surprise, it's another panning photo.
Yeah, a really good one.
Stick to what you're good at. Yeah, that's the principle. So this is a photo that shows how it works and when it works and what it does. So if you can see, the colors are quite soft, almost sort of pastel in their consistencies, but the blacks are still relatively black. There's a really nice highlight roll off. So the car is white and the background is white, but it's not blown out. You don't lose the information. What you can't see, obviously, watching at home, is that you can see the driver's face in the photo and the flames coming out of the car, neither of which are underexposed or overexposed. So it renders very nicely when you hit the exposure correctly.
Yeah, you can actually see it there. I can see it.
If we could just move on to the next one, sorry, please. So this is another one where I've had to intentionally overexpose to show the spider. So it's not often you find me doing macro photography because it doesn't move fast enough. It just kind of sits there and it just bores me. But the way it renders the colour green, that's what I really like about this. In this, it's a very light and a beautiful colour green. And again, having overexposed, it isn't blown out. Still got lots of detail in the spider and the web itself. So if we could just move on again. I'll keep prompting you, sorry. So this is what happens when you start to underexpose. The greens go from that sort of lovely pastel to a bit of a darker sort of hue. In this instance, I was using spot photometry. So I would say with this simulation, when you're using the photometry aspect of it, try to meter the whole scene, so you don't do what I've done here, which is beautifully expose the leaves, but then underexpose everything else in the background.
Yeah, it's so lovely. Like that might be my favorite picture that you've shown us so far, and I like them all. I think you've done a really great job.
Thanks. I mean, you have to say nice things because I want the show.
No, I really mean that. I really honestly mean that. It's a very. I would be, if I captured that picture, I'd be super proud of it. It'd be on the wall.
Yes.
It would.
Yeah, it is fabulous.
I did go back specifically because I shoot a lot of anamorphic. I see the world in sort of letterbox format. That's not to say I walk around the letterbox and look through it. What I mean is that sort of that CinemaScope style super wide. So I intentionally went home, got my anamorphic lens, went back, and I've shot exactly the same scene with exactly the same simulation afterwards.
Okay. David,
Anyway,
it looks
sorry.
like you are frozen in the screen at the moment.
Oh, that's good.
Um,
Can you still hear me?
yes,
We can
I mean,
still hear you.
we can hear
It's a great
you.
face I'm pulling. So, well, you know, I've got a face for radio, so this is going to go well.
Yeah.
Should we move on to the next one then?
Yes. Should we move on to the next one?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Again, slight underexposure on this, and as you can see, that the whites have gone a slightly creamy color on this because I'm actually using a Pro Mist filter, which warms up the image slightly. So I know you talked about it to do with clarity earlier. So I sometimes shoot with a Pro Mist filter anyway, which warms the image up. Again, we've underexposed the greens, and they've gone that nice sort of darker tone. And if we go to the last one, so I decided to try my hand at street photography. Not my best discipline, but I thought I'd give it a go. This scene, it's very harsh lights, incredibly contrasty, and so what it's done is when you've exposed for the highlights, the shadows actually haven't crossed at all. The shadows are very nice. You can still see all the colours. And this gentleman stopped shouting at strangers long enough for me to take his photo very kindly.
Nice.
And if anyone in the audience has ever been to Nottingham, that is the Left Lion. It's a landmark in Nottingham. Everybody likes the left line, nobody likes the right line. So there's a nod to anyone who knows Nottingham.
Nice. So you can really see that this recipe can give you beautiful results no matter what you like to shoot. And you can experiment nicely. What I would suggest, though, is, David, if you don't mind to leave quickly in case you haven't already, and then come back so that we can, bring you back on the screen and have a little bit more of a chat before we move on. But yeah, I think this selection of images is great. Yes, Ritchie.
Yeah, David did a great job of sharing with us what the strengths of this recipe are, and really demonstrating that in various scenarios. So I'm really appreciative of all that. And some interesting things about the film Fujicolor Pro 400H, of course, is very popular amongst wedding photographers and stuff. But the H actually stands for high ISO. And in the film days, ISO 400 was often considered a high ISO film. So I find that to be interesting.
Yes, yeah. If you think about it now, in our days, 400 to be high, that's pretty ridiculous, actually.
Yeah.
So I think what is really nice is that you can, now have this whole month to experiment with this recipe and to take it through its paces. I quite like to, some days take a challenge and really think like I would shoot it like I would shoot the actual film and see the results. So really push it in its high ISO and see what results I get with that. And then other days, like what David's done, just shoot everything with the recipe and see where I like it the most. And yeah, so we invite you to do the same, obviously, and to share with us in the comments how this goes. You can obviously ask questions now or later. As we always say, if you watch this after it's gone live, you can still ask us questions and we will, always answer them. You know how to reach us. And so we'll see how you go, and we hope that you like this recipe and that you'll like the results and enjoy shooting with it.
Yep, and if you have X Pro 3 or newer, this recipe is compatible with your camera.
That is fantastic. And we want you to upload your images with us. So you can do that right here. Please screenshot this if you want to have the link handy. You can scan the QR code or use the link directly. We share this also as much as possible, and it's in the description of this broadcast also. You have until the 9th of August to share your submissions with us. So please do so. Share, and you're more than welcome to, upload more than one. 3 is a really good number, but share with us as you wish. And if you've got something you want to share with us as in like a bit of a story, you're more than welcome to do that too. Some people, upload a folder, and then in that folder they embed a document if they've got something that they want to share with us, or send us emails or messages. We'd love to hear from you how you go. So until the 9th of August, you have to do so. And if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask them now that the chat is working again.
Yep.
And
of course, we only have 7 minutes, but
yes,
that's quickly.
We only have a few minutes, and it seems like we've lost David a bit prematurely. So I'm really sorry about that. The images that he shared with us were absolutely fantastic, and what he shared with us. So
I loved his story. I love his pictures, and I just want to say thank you to David for joining us. It was a real honor to have you on the show, and you definitely made this episode more interesting with your presence here. So Thank you for joining us. And for anybody else who wants to be a live guest, we try and make it not too intimidating. And I always like to say, if I can do this, you can, because I definitely have a face for radio and a voice for print. So if I could do this, you could do it. Join us live. David showed us how you can do it. We'll make it all comfortable for you. Just let us know that you're interested.
Yes. So exactly. If you want to join us, please give us a shout out. It would be phenomenal to have you. This is why we're here. We want to connect with you. We all have stories to share. So I don't think your story wouldn't be valued. We would love to hear how you go and what you have to share with us in your experience in shooting JPEGs and recipes and straight out of camera. So if you do, please put your hand up. You can add that hashtag in the comments or connect with us any other way. And also don't forget about the website, SOOC.live. Everything that's, about the episodes is always there. So if in doubt, you can go there and see, what information is needed for the current month. And wow, that's how quickly an hour goes by, Ritchie. Yeah. We are already at the part, and we are kind of like in time. I'm very impressed with us. In case the viewers don't know what I'm talking about, we have load shedding, and in about 4 minutes time, they will turn our power off. So we need to quickly choose a winner of this month's episode. Everyone who submitted images is automatically put on our wheel and stands a chance to win a 12-month subscription to the app. And I think we need to quickly spin the wheel and see who this month's winner is. Let's do it. Yes. Let's spin the wheel and let's see.
And even if you already have a subscription, if you win, let us know. We'll work something out.
Yes, and it's Caroline Saramati who is our winner for this month. Congratulations, Caroline.
Yay.
Please do get in touch with us and let us know, how we can get hold of you, start the conversation so that we can make you winner of the Fuji X Weekly app. Mm-hmm. And with that, we are at the end of the show.
Yep.
Ritchie,
we gotta say goodbye, and yeah, it's been fun. It's been a good show. This was a good episode.
Yes, I think there's been some lots of valuable information. We hope you found it useful. Do let us know how you found the show. If there's anything that you want us to cover in one of the upcoming episodes, please don't be shy. And once again, thanks to David, who's been absolutely phenomenal, real trooper, and he's paved the way for many of you to come along and have a chat with us live as well. It would be absolutely wonderful to have you, to meet you, and to introduce you to the community. So please don't be shy. Put your hand up, and we'll get the ball rolling from there. But now it's time to say thank you and goodbye. Ritchie, it's been fabulous as always. Thank you for your time. It's been wonderful to share this time with you online.
Yeah, and thank you for everybody who tuned in and joined us today. And I hope you found something interesting, valuable, entertaining, helpful to your photography. And we will definitely see you next month.
Yes, thank you so much. Thanks again to everyone who's been watching also from my side. It's been wonderful. Please do keep safe, keep shooting, and share your creations with us. We can't wait to do it again next month. Until then, keep safe and goodbye for now.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.